Okay, Torben, go ahead.
Thank you
Tell
very
us
much.
more.
And I have to start with saying that I don't have any PowerPoints. Why am I not prepared for this session? In our movement, we are talking a lot about the spoken word and sitting together and trying to see what kind of group am I in and where does our conversation go? Where does it take us to? So I will take you by spoken word to a little bit of a view into the Danish Efterskoler movement. Very briefly, but still, in 1814, the first school law in Denmark came. Everybody was supposed to attend school, and we didn't have any teachers. When they made this law, we should start saying, how do we create teachers from now on? In the cities, it wasn't any problem, but in the countryside, it was a big problem because nobody could actually take that task. So they took almost anyone. Can you read? Can you write? Well, if you can, so maybe you can become a teacher. And it was, I think, a lot of places, even the military. I didn't know if they brought their gun into the classroom, but even army people, they attended up as teachers. And therefore, the pedagogical way was very rough and very tough, and they forced the students to learn. And that created a movement, a different movement. You can force a person to learn Danish language, to learn the Bible by heart, maybe. You can force a person to learn science, mathematics, biology, but you can't force a person to become a democratic person. Democracy is made by trust, and you can't force trust. If you don't trust me, I'll beat you. Try to just read that small sentence. If you don't trust me, I'll beat you. It doesn't create trust, it creates fear, and that is totally something different. And therefore, there was a priest. He was also a philosopher, and he is the Danish person who has written most in his life. His name is Grundtvig, and Grundtvig wanted a change. He wanted to create something else in the Danish school system. He said a lot of things, but he said that man is not a monkey, destined to imitate the other animals first and then imitate himself to the end of life. No, a human being is a wonderful creature made in between dust and spirit. And he really by heart thought that we have to respect the human being as a wonderful person created with a spirit to try to make his or her own goals. And therefore there came a movement in Denmark, a Bildung movement. We didn't use that word at all, we still don't. We have our own word for it, folkeoplysning, that is the Danish word for it. And first of all, it was for adults. But at the same time, people in Denmark started saying, it's not only adults, it's also youth. They need, of course, they need to learn science, Danish language, foreign languages, mathematics, all that stuff. But they have to learn how to become citizens in our society. And it was very important for us by that time, around mid-1850s, to create a national identity. And Grundtvig said, you can't force a national identity. You have to create a national identity by trust. And therefore we formed schools where formal learning was one issue, but singing was another issue. Learning more about Danish history was a third issue. And also learning to become a democratic person was an issue. And doing that, there has to be equality between teacher and student. And by that time, there was a big gap, a very big gap. A teacher was something far beyond a student. And equality was a main character in Grundtvig's philosophy of making a different schools. And a true teacher has to be by heart interested in the student. Not only interested in, have you done your math? Have you done your Danish language? Have you done your things, your homework from yesterday? No. What are you interested in? What is your dreaming of life? How do you want to create your own spirit? And doing that, our school system created students who was maybe not in the formal learning on a higher, or definitely not on a higher level than the public schools, but as human beings, stronger, because they wanted to develop the Danish democracy. And that was funded, the first school in Efterskoler in Denmark was founded in 1851. That is, well, you can calculate better than me, something like almost 170 years ago. But that is history. Why is a historical school movement still actual today? And I have been following the PISA movement, or the PISA, for the last 20 years. I've been traveling in Korea, seeing what a very formal, very strict, very excellent in that field, excellent way of schooling, and what kind of citizenship and Bildung that creates, or the lack of that. So therefore, the Efterskole movement today consists of 30,000 students. There is the folk high school for the adults. Around 8,000 people every year attends a folk high school for adults. But this Efterskole is actually something in between the primary and secondary school and gymnasium. And 30,000 students today, they choose 1 year out. Half of them, they don't need that year. They could actually just continue in the formal school system, but they want to leave the formal school system and attend 1 year boarding. That means they stay here 24 hours a day, somewhere else. And why? Because they and their parents, they want something else. They want to upgrade their formal skills. They want to upgrade their interest skills, like soccer, like music, like dance, like theater. But we have to also look very much into the building part. They and their parents want these students to be citizens. And by 1850s, it was citizens in a national context. I think today it's citizens in a global context. So therefore, our schools and our school movement, which is supported by the government, but still also the parents has to pay quite a lot. It is very, very important in the Danish school system, not as a formal public school, but as an independent school who wants to create people in a different manner than the public school does. So that's why I'm interested in the Nordic secret, and I'm interested in the Bildung part, because we are focusing very much on the citizenship part and focusing on equality. As human beings, we are equal. Some might be old, some might be young, but as human beings, we are equal. And that is what takes us from normal formal schooling to being part of a united movement, which actually has one goal: to create a stronger and a better democracy. And the last thing I'll say, because in a minute Michael will stop me, the last thing I'd like to say in this field is that when I talk to Korean people, we are impressed. It is very impressive how far Korea has gone from the Korean War. We have read about it in the history books or seen it a lot of places. It is impressive how far they have gone. And now they realize that they have lost those who doesn't succeed all the way, because they haven't been focusing this is not my words, this is their words, they have not been focusing on keeping youngsters interested in developing their own life. They've been focusing so much on formal learning and becoming, I think it's the 7th strongest economy in the world. So this is our point, this is our mark, this is my attendance in this small workshop. So I hope you got an idea, otherwise please ask. And now Mike has stopped me. So thank you very much.